Hello, ladies and gentlemen. There was this letter written in 1841 by some London based rabbis to the Igbo people. This letter was discovered so many years ago by Dr. Daniel Lees, the Swiss Israeli anthropologist who researched on the Igbo Jewish question. This letter was essentially saying that the Igbo people were brothers of the Jewish rabbis who wrote it. Today, I woke up to find this letter posted by another academic, Dr. Hakam Rabbi Dayan Yehonatan Elazar the Mota, the president of Obadiah Alliance, the Sephardic Jewish institution that constituted a Bedin, that is a religious court, that ruled that based on every evidence available that the Igbo people that you identify with the modern country called Nigeria are lineal descendants of the biblical Israelites. He posted this letter on Facebook this morning, and I woke up and looked at it, and I decided to make a post about it. I'll read out to you what I wrote. Can you read Hebrew? This was an 1841 letter written by London-based rabbis and addressed to their Igbo brothers. I went on to add, the uninformed don't know why I, Remy Ilona, of Omenana Defenders, why I give my all to this matter. I've given my comfort, I've given the little material possessions I have given my time to prove to the Igbo people, primarily the Igbo people who were devastated by Euro-colonialism, who were Christianized, who began to emulate and to assimilate and to copy surrounding cultures in Nigeria. I had to give everything I had to demonstrate to them again that they are living lineal descendants of the Israelites. I gave everything. And I reiterate, I did not give anything because I expect anything from the state of Israel. We don't expect anything from the state of Israel. Nothing. We only want Igbos who we are disconnected from identity and culture to be 100% sure about who their ancestors were. If I do not know that I'm a son of Joseph Ilona, the man called Clean Man, the man who was called Clean Man because he lived a very clean life. My father was a very righteous man. I may not know that I have a responsibility to live righteously. If the Igbos are wavering, not fully aware that they were the children of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, they may not know that they have to live like Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That is why we gave all, that is why we gave everything we have given. I'm talking about Omenana Defenders. That is why we gave everything we gave. We are not giving anything. We didn't give anything so that any Igbo will dream of Aliyah to Israel. No, the Aliyah we are concerned about today is to return millions of Igbos to Igbo land. And some are returning. I can talk about two specifically. One was my chief of staff at Abuja. He has a master's degree in architecture. He left Abuja, returned to Anambra State, where today he's a successful farmer and a successful architect. One is a young man that I advised a few years ago, go back to that industry established by your parents, that little Obubo farm. Go there and you'll have a good life, and he's doing that. That is the Alea the Igbos are concerned with today. We engaged in this because we know that if the Igbo people rediscover culture again, you will hear Nzobu Nzobu Enyi Mba Enyi. When the Igbos utter Nzobu Nzobu Enyi Mba Enyi, mountains begin to move. This ethnic group, this nation, just stepped away from the worst genocide in the 20th century after the Nazi Holocaust. And within 10 years of surviving genocide, they contributed enough money to build an airport. They practically built Nigeria. If you are in doubt, listen to Omenana Sube's song about Igbo nation builders. We built Jentajos, we built Sabon Garikani. And we have the materials to do so again. We have the materials to rebuild the Igbo people, which should be our primary responsibility today. Those materials are the Igbos who follow Omenana defenders to follow what I call authentic Omenana. Authentic Omenana is, by the way, the religion and culture of the biblical Israelites. We have thousands of Igbos who adhere to rabbinic Judaism. They have started moving closer and closer to Omenana. So I regard them as a good material. We have millions of Igbos who adhere to the religion called Sabbath. They have been disciplined because they took the Old Testament seriously. We have millions of Igbos who would call themselves Christians, who know that they are lineal descendants of Israelites. My good friend John Madu Abuchukwu belongs to this category. Another friend, Ihana Chomalaki, belongs to this category. When all these people pull resources together, the sky will be the limit. And they need to pull resources together so that we will commence our march to greatness. And I would not hesitate to talk about what we regard as greatness. What we regard as greatness is essentially righteousness. We need to keep on doing the kind of things I'm doing in this video, because Igbos need to be reminded all the time about who they are. It was brought to my attention yesterday that some people who came to me for help, they needed information about the Israelites so that they would better know who they themselves were. Apparently, they saw some conversations I had where I stressed that the great Yoruba people of Nigeria are not Israelites, they are not Jews, they are not Hebrews. And they were offended by that because they were forced by a certain culture that is Pan-Africanist in outlook, that tends to see all Africans as one. So, because of that, and because of the fact that they did not grow up in the continent of Africa, to know that the differences between the Yoruba and the Igbo are more than the differences between the Igbo and the Japanese in everything. So they tend to look at everybody that is dark-hued as Israelites, and they do a lot of disservice to innocent peoples because this is colonialist in thinking, and they are egged on by what I would simply call the EB1A, EB1B tropes about genocide. I mean, about genotypes. This has led them to inventing things like Bantu, genotype, and all other things that I have not taken time to examine, since I know they have nothing to contribute as far as looking at ancestral history is concerned. If you want to know where a group of people came from, look at their culture and history. Stay very, very far away from genotype. If you want to know the ancestry of any group, look at history and culture. Stay very, very far away from genotype, from genetic studies. Genetics cannot tell you the origins of the ancestral origins of the British. Neither can it tell you about the ancestral origins of the Israelites. It can tell you where I came from, because I am still a living person. So it can look at my genes and look at where genes that match mine concentrate and speculate. The speculations will now be confirmed by what my history and culture tells you. But these fellows that were angered by my submissions about the Yorubas base everything on genotype. Unfortunately, they had not read this. I ventured into genetic studies simply to demonstrate that the Igbo genes match genes in the Levant, supporting what culture and history had already made clear. And I'm not sure they are familiar with works like this. If they are familiar with works like this, they will view genetic studies the way it should be viewed. If they think wrongly that genetic studies can determine who was an Israelite, then I leave them with a parting shot. Abraham's DNA did not change. What changed was his culture. Abraham's DNA remained essentially the same with the DNA of Terah, his father, Noah, his ancestor. And if his DNA did not change, why are you thinking that the DNA of all the peoples that came out of Abraham would change? The Ishmaelites came out of Abraham. The children of Isaac, who became the Israelites, came out of Abraham. So if you find genetic similarities between Ishmaelites and the children of Israel, does that mean that the Ishmaelites became Israelites? I'm posing these questions because some people who have not met Igbos are spreading the scandal, the rumor, that they found that Igbo DNA matches with the DNA of other Nigerians. And I'm telling them that at no time have Igbo DNA be compared to the DNA of any other group in Nigeria. If you found information about 5 Igbos in a DNA database in any part of the country, and find information about the DNA of Yoruba or Fulani or Hausa or Bini in anywhere outside Nigeria, and you are using the DNA materials of 10 persons to take decisions about 100 million persons, what you deserve is sorry. If you want to know who are the Igbo people, where they came from, start from examining the phrase Omenana, things you shall do in the land. And on this note, I tell you to have a very good week. Be blessed.